Master video for the 2016 Volkswagen Passat 1.8T. I believe it would be called the NMS is the version. So I'm going to discuss everything I've done to the car in order of what I think is important, you know, the biggest improvement to the car. Keep in mind, I have never done any of this stuff to any other car before. This is a first time thing for me. I'm like learning on the fly with this car. Hopefully work out most of the kinks in my monkey wrench game before I like actually buy a real project car of some sort, and something that's actually fast, you know, because this, I mean, let's be real, this is a boat and it's slow. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's significantly faster than it was when I bought it, and it's significantly more fun to drive than it was when I first bought it. I like it a lot more, so that's all, you know, that's all good. But, you know, it's probably, I don't know, at best 250 horsepower, maybe like 270, 280 foot-pounds of torque. That's just a wild guess based on reading forums and looking at other people's similar engines and similar mods. So that's just a guess. I mean, that might be on the high end. It might only be like 230 horsepower. I don't know. Not fast is the point. Not actually fast. I obviously didn't buy this car planning to modify it. I bought it as like a commuting car that was big enough as a family secondary to our van. I saw a picture of one that was lowered and I was like, ooh, that looks nice. And then down the rabbit hole I went. We'll get right into it. And the first and most important thing to talk about, in my opinion, is the JB4. That thing right there. Probably, if you're watching this video, you probably already know what they are. But that tuning chip with the Bluetooth connect kit comes down, goes into a sensor there, sensor here, and one down there, as well as this, I believe it's a wire for an O2 sensor right there. That is the first thing I would buy for this car. Nothing else made as big of a difference, not even close. I mean, the burger tune, especially when it's up on map 6 and you've been going back and forth with Georgia BMS, like the intake just makes noises. I didn't notice any power from that. The downpipe, I noticed a little bit of power from, but again, mostly noises. And I think it just kind of spread the power band out a little bit and smoothed this thing. I mean, turning it off and turning it back to map 6, it's night and day difference in the car. Yeah, so brand new, if you were buying one from them, I think that entire kit with the metal case and the Bluetooth dongle, I think it's around 700 bucks or something with all that stuff. But I bought this one used on eBay for like 365. I mean, 365 bucks to add, I don't know, 40, 50, maybe 60 horsepower to your car from that tuning chip is the best. So that's been the most fun for me. JB4, number one, best thing. As far as issues with the JB, there's a couple little quirks that I've noticed. If I'm driving and I get out of the car, turn it off, and get back in it too quick, it almost seems like the tuner defaults to map 0 or map 1. The app on my phone, and I can tell I'm just not getting the boost that I'm supposed to. But then I turn the car off and turn it back on and it goes away. So I don't know. I don't know what that's about. It could be a software update thing. But yeah, that's pretty minor. Everything else with that, the install, super easy, especially if you've got an aftermarket intake, because you can reach down in there very easily. If you can get a used one, Burger Tuning will still support you and still do your maps and stuff. And even if it ends up being something's broken on it, they'll still fix it for you, you know, for a fee. Really a great product in my opinion. And granted, I don't have experience with any other, you know, tuning chip or tuning method or anything, but I love it. We'll just go with that, and I think that pretty well covers the JB4. The next most enjoyable thing for me was lowering. Even though I kind of hate my coilovers, those SoloWorks S1s. They're a bit bouncy, and they've never stopped making noises on the front end, and I've been through it so many times. I'm gonna buy new ones, better coilovers at some point. The car drives fine, I'm still enjoying it. And the improvement in look dropping it was just huge. I mean, this thing had like fist-sized wheel gaps all around with the stock suspension, and it was way up in the air. And dropping it like this, I just love it so much. I would advise not to do it the cheap way and just freaking save a little more money and get some decent coilovers to start. Don't bother with the cheap shit. Personally, that's my experience now. Again, coming from somebody who's only installed coilovers one time. and it's on this car, so take that with a grain of salt. But so happy with how it looks sitting fairly low. The fitment's not great. Obviously, I got some, you know, it's not the worst thing ever, but I would like to add some spacers to tighten that up a little bit. My experience installing the coilovers was quite rough. It was a 2-day ordeal for me by myself in this garage right here. And oh, look at that, I have 4-hole extra SolarWorks springs in there. See that? Yeah, that wasn't fun either. I didn't quite know all the things I would need because I'd never done something like that before. So there was a few trips to the auto parts store, you know, bloody knuckles. I didn't realize it at the time. It took me until the next day to figure it out, but I had let the axle on this side slip out when I had everything disconnected. And whenever I put the front strut in there, I couldn't get it to line back up, and I didn't know why. And I was like, oh my God, it's never going back in. I had to get on the internet and finally saw that basically it had just, the axle had slipped out. And I just put a jack under it and started jacking it up and wiggling it back and forth, and then it went floop and slid back in. And then I was able to get it all finished up. And I mean, that was rough. That was I think that was the hardest thing for me to do to the car. SolarWorks customer service is pretty good. First, the springs that came for the back wouldn't go lower. They wouldn't even go this low, which is not super low. But they wouldn't go that low. They were the wheel. It was more like up here, and they would not go. They were bottomed out, and that's so. I think I got the wrong springs in my kit or something. But I contacted them, and they basically sent me another set, no questions asked. Then I was having all the knocking and popping in the front end. They sent me another front pair of springs. So that's why I have a full set of SolarWorks springs sitting right there. And so the rear springs fixed the lowering issue in the back. I got that to drop, but nothing ever fixed the freaking popping and clunking in the front end. And I mean, I replaced the end links. I went and looked at how to check all the bushings and wiggled all the bushings with a pry bar, and I can't find anything, but I've kind of given up on that until I can buy something new to replace them with. I mean, you know, we'll go ahead and put the wheels in after that. I actually did the wheels first before lowering it, but I would say lower it first and then do wheels. But I had, you know, 16-inch wheels with balloon tires on this thing, so they really had to go. And these are not fancy wheels, obviously, and I painted them because I messed them up pretty bad. But 18x8 Advanti something or others, they're not made anymore. So I couldn't get a replacement one when I damaged one of them, so I just decided to paint them. I just like them. I don't like most factory wheels on most cars. I just like them to be. I like new shoes. I like new shoes, different shoes. Yeah. It was from Fitment Industries, and they came wheels and tires balanced, and I picked them up at a local shipping place on a pallet and just put them in the back of the other van we had before, and brought them home and slapped them on the car. So that was easy. That's nothing. That was actually the first thing I did to the car was put wheels and tires on it. Next up, we'll talk about the Cts Turbo 3-inch downpipe with the high flow cap. See it down there. It's back there. It's underneath there. That install also made me question my whole life and why I work on this car at all and why I would do that to myself. And just generally, what am I doing with my whole life is how I felt when I was trying to install that downpipe, laying on my back underneath this car, you know, on jack stands. And mainly the problem was the flange of the turbo downpipe to the turbo whatever thing. That flange fits really freaking tight, and when I was angling it up, and I could not get it to sink into place. It was so freaking hard, and I gave up after trying for like a couple of hours to get it on there, and went to bed and woke up the next morning and got under there, and finally, like blind with my, you know, arms jammed way up in there, I managed to grab the end of the clamp around it and pinch it with my fingers and wiggle it and pinch it until I felt it go thump, and those two freaking, those things finally set into each other, and I had to, you know, take the little screw with my finger, and I started like screaming underneath. I was like, yes, oh my God, I got it. So yeah, the install for the downpipe hurt my soul and my body pretty bad, actually. I was sore for a few days from that. But the results are very enjoyable. I can't say that it added like a super noticeable amount of power. A few ponies and widen the power band and make like just the whole power band a little bit better. So again, take it with a grain of salt. Don't know what I'm doing. It's butt dyno stuff we're talking about here. And I wasted time painting my engine cover, so you can't listen to me too much. But the main thing with Downpipe is the sound. I freaking love the Jetsons Mobile sound it makes. Yeah, I mean, the way that it sounds, it made it more throaty and added that kind of whistly turbo sound coming out of it. Freaking love that. Really love it. And initially when I put the downpipe in, I did not have any sort of spacer for the O2 sensor. I was getting codes pretty quick. And then I bought a JB4 spacer, a generic one I found on eBay. I'll put up a picture of one of those. Find that specific link anymore, so I can't post it because I don't know, they're sold out or something, but they are out there on the internet on other sites. You can find them, and there's other options with like a catalytic, like a little mini catalytic converter on the end of it if you have enough space under your car for it to fit on there. But anyway, so I put the spacer on there. I am getting intermittent codes, but I don't get a check engine light too often, and so I can pass inspection as long as I put the thing on map 1 and clear the codes like a couple days before I go in. I'll pass inspection. So I'm good. I'm not worried about intermittent codes and stuff like that. Yeah, that is all resolved. And people have different experiences with different cars. Some people never manage to get rid of their check engine light, or never manage a spacer combination that will work for them. I think I'm good enough. I will occasionally get a check engine light, probably. But I'm not worried about it because I can pass inspection, and I know that there's nothing actually wrong with the car. It's just that O2 sensor tossing intermittent codes. All right, next, let's talk about the Cts Turbo Intake. I can't say I noticed any power from it at all, but I love the way it looks in here, and the sounds are really fun. The Darth Vader whooshing and breathing sounds are very fun. Kind of adds to the experience of driving around with a noisy car. I definitely didn't notice a difference in performance from the intake. The install is pretty easy. It's a little tricky over here because this kind of tight space to work with, but I got big hands and I managed to make it. Mine does not have a map sensor or whatever the sensor is in the intake stream like some of the Volkswagens. Some of them have a sensor right here. Actually, this kit comes with, the way it's set up is I think you cut this, or you use the other pieces that it comes with. I don't remember, but you can have the sensor in the middle of this piece. So this specific intake will work with more than one engine in Volkswagen. This thing didn't come with any directions and was kind of annoying to figure out, but you got a couple of brain cells, you can rub them together and get through it. I didn't really have any problems with the intake. The only thing that happened for me when I installed it is this hose right here. I didn't realize that there was a rubber cap on the nipple that comes out of the intake right here, and I actually jammed this hose on over the nipple. So as soon as I turned my car on and started driving, I got a check engine light, something to do with manifold pressure or something. And I was messing around, and I reached down in here and I felt a bulge on it, and I was like, wait a second. I pulled it off, and sure enough, the cap was stuck inside the end of the tube, and it had stretched the tube outside. I actually had to cut a piece of this tube off in order to make it tight on the nipple, and now it's a little bit short, so it kind of barely reaches. But that's the only real issue I had with the intake. Put up a picture of the item number, probably from where I got it at. I have the secondary air injection or whatever it is, and that's down here. So yeah, that'll do it for the intake. The muffler delete, let's be real, is just for noise. Your cold start's loud, it makes your wide open throttles louder. I still have my factory mid muffler, so it's not that loud. It doesn't sound totally crazy. But you can see I just got a 2 1/4 inch straight pipe, and then I've got a 45 degree angle that I cut part of it off to attach back there where I cut off the rear muffler. Got clamps and muffler weld paste. And this is a generic mount that I found at AutoZone and bent until I could get it to strap on right there. And I mean, it's nice and solid. And the first few times it was not. The first way I had it set up, I pulled into my work garage the next day with it dragging on the ground, scraping. And that was embarrassing. Then I tried it again, and I got it to where it wouldn't fall off, but it was getting loose and it was wiggling around. And I kept having to like stuff it back in result. And then finally, that fourth try, I've got it now. It's not going anywhere. So, and now I'm thinking about actually putting real exhaust on. I'm thinking about just going and getting a magnet flow kit. So the excuse to do more work to the car. I don't know. And it's not really a performance game from what I understand. So it's kind of hard to decide. I don't think this car needs a 3-inch exhaust. I think that's kind of absurd, but I mean, maybe I'll just have a custom exhaust done. I'm not sure. I gotta see how much that would cost. But yeah, rear muffler delete. It was a pain in the butt. Sounds fun. And that's about it. And after that, we are on to really just purely all the cosmetic time waste stuff that I've done, like this. It took me so long to mask that. It was so much work to mask that. And then I messed it up a couple of times and dropped it and had to repaint it. And yeah, I mean, it was a lot of wasted time. I guess I like how it looks, but if I had it to do over again, I wouldn't bother because I could have done something else with that time. I mean, it looks pretty nice, actually. Managed after a couple of tries to get the finish pretty good on it, but yeah, I don't know. This doesn't really count as a mod, I guess, but the red glow pack. Still have the OEM plug. They were old, and I had a couple of misfires, so I just replaced them and replaced the plugs as well because I figured it was time. The plugs had like 50K miles on them, so yeah, I didn't really notice any difference. The car idling a little smoother maybe. Bros, don't forget the battery sticker delete mod. Yeah. So that's not the only paint match I did on the car. Actually, I had those chrome strips down the side, and I tried to paint match those. It didn't go well. They started peeling, so I just pulled off. So chrome delete on the door down there. Now this piece you can't really delete because it is actually snapped into the bumper. So that one is paint matched myself with a rattle can, and it amazingly hasn't really chipped over that chrome piece, other than where somebody hit me right there, bumped me. A little touch-up paint on it. We have our rubber spoilers here. This one is a cheap eBay one. It was generic. It's fine. It came gloss black already. What was it, like 60 bucks or less than 30 bucks? I don't even remember. It's okay. It's fine. But it's cut different on this end. This end looks right. It's nice and flush and flat. But the other end has a weird angle to it. A Spoiler King spoiler probably isn't gonna have that issue, but this, whatever, for the cost, and that's not really noticeable, so it's not a big deal. This is a Spoiler King split duckbill or whatever it is. This thing, I like it, however I messed it up pretty bad. I paint matched it the first time because I didn't know what I was doing. I had meltdowns, I messed it up really bad, it fell over once and got a bunch of dust all over it. And then I started trying to strip paint off of it to start over, and I accidentally like gouged it. I stripped it all down and then painted it blue again, and actually still put it on the car after spiking it into the trash can and hating myself. And then I decided when I got that one black, I was like, you know what, I'm doing black wheels and blacking everything out. Let me just go ahead and, so I painted it on the car, I painted it black. And it looks better than it did, but I don't like to look at it too close. I want to replace this. I want to buy another one. I think it was 120 bucks or 130 bucks. I don't remember. Continuing with blackout stuff here. Painted I pulled it off there and painted it and put it back on. And that's held up pretty well. And I did the same thing for the back. It looks pretty good. This one, yeah, I like pried it off of there. And I think I had to use a dab of glue on both of them to get them to stay back on. And that's fine, right? And of course I have done a whole bunch of 3M vinyl. And I've done it poorly, let's be real, because I learned to do it on this car. The front grille looks decent. Get up close, you can see like there's a couple little gaps and things that aren't perfect, but again, it's not noticeable at, 5-10 feet, so don't care that much. Blacked out all these pieces. You can see right here I got a bad fold. but I ran out of stuff. Just left it. But I gotta get more 3M tape and redo several pieces on here. And all the way across here. Now I did this because this has been chipping like crazy. It just hits rocks all the time, especially being lower. And so I didn't want to keep adding little dots of touch-up paint to it. It was starting to get lumpy looking, so I just freaking put a black strip on there. And yeah, I'm fine with that. That's keeping down my rock chips. Vinyl all along here. These straight pieces are easier to do, so I don't have too many problems with those. Back here. Yeah, this strip right here. Tinted my headlights. It's not the super dark one because I didn't want my headlights being ridiculously dark. I didn't do a perfect job, of course, but as you can tell, I think even from this, it doesn't look bad. It's good enough for me for now. Pretty happy with how that turned out. I tried to tint my back lights, but I had such a problem with it that I gave up because I don't know how to bend that corner well. So what I ended up doing is cutting strips, small strips that just go right here to go over the chrome to darken the chrome look out in the light, because I don't like how bright the chrome was sticking out of there. Strips of tint just over this part. And then I also have strips of tint over these blicker lights. I wanted everything to be kind of dark and smoky. Yeah, the headlight stuff is Vivid. That's what's on there. So I ordered some of that directly from them, I think, with some of their tools as well, and one of their knives. And then some of the black stuff I just ordered on eBay. All right, so we got the wind guards here. These are well visors. I'm happy enough with these. I actually do like them functionally. I do like being able to crack my windows and not get blasted in the face with air or have raindrops come in. I do keep my windows cracked almost all the time, whether I'm running the heat or the AC in my car. So these work well for me. I really like them. I will say, and I don't know if it's my fault or the quality of the tape on them, but they haven't stuck the best. But they look pretty good. They're pretty low profile, which is what I want. I see a lot on cars that like bubble out and they look weird. They're pretty slim. And that's how I want it. Sometimes you're behind a car and you can see them sticking off like freaking like bat ears or something. I don't think they're gonna fall off at any point, but I have noticed that I do have to like come out and check them and push them down a little bit every now and then. But no wiggling, no flapping, no signs of actually like completely detaching. So those things, I'm pretty happy with those. Those are just cosmetic, but a little bit functional as well. So, and we got this funny thing, which I'm sure people may have mixed feelings about, but ultimately the reason I decided to buy this was because I have a dent underneath here. A kid in the neighborhood fell over with his handlebar directly into my hood right here and dented it and gouged the paint. And it's like in a spot where I can't get something behind it to push it out. I don't want to do body work and have my whole hood painted or something. And then I saw this thing online. I was like, wait a sec. I think that'll work. And plus I'm already blacking everything out of my car, so yeah, that did the trick. And it's also, protecting my hood more. I don't notice any wind noise from it, but if I go over like really hard bumps, I do think I hear this. So that rubber thing that's on my hood, I think it'll bounce on that sometime. It's kind of annoying. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it's pretty rare that I hear it. Again, it's a form-fit hood. It's a form-fit hood protector, again with the freaking logos on it that I wish weren't there. But maybe I should make myself like a little dark black Dadmobile logo, put it over it or something. But yeah, I'll toss up a picture of this as well. Pretty easy to install. You got big 3M mounting points right here that have a screw in them that link to a little tab that goes through there. You got 1, 2, 3 of those 3M mounting points there, and then you got these which actually hook around the edge of the hood. So I think we are almost at the end. I mean, we have my painted brakes, which I don't know. I'm gonna redo those in either black or like dark gray. The blue that they are doesn't match the car. I mean, they're small little ugly brakes. I think I'm gonna go ahead and paint them like a charcoal black or something like that. And then of course we have silly blue LED lighting. It's tucked away though, you don't really see the lights. It's blue, it's all around. Blue car, blue stuff, blue, you know, blue. However, I wish I'd have done it with a better kit because, I mean, that's how it's, I don't like this. There's no wires anywhere else that are visible in the car. I ran it all through there. I actually enjoy the ambient lighting when it's dark out in the car, I really do, but I need to get a better solution because that's rigged. And yeah, but it's cool. It is what it is, you know, having fun. And I think that covers it. I mean, obviously I've wasted a lot of time with little cosmetic things, but you know, I'm interested in making it my own, and I'm already up against the torque limits of the transmission in this car anyway. I think it's the 09G transmission. I wish I'd have known the difference in the R line and this one whenever I went to buy them. If I'd have spent like $1,500 more, I would have had a DS, and I could have put a lot more power potentially into it without, you know, worry of frying my transmission. So I may just be kind of refining it going forward, redoing some things, upgrading the suspension, adding some stereo stuff, exhaust kit, probably the only one that I'm even familiar with is the MagnaFlow kit. I may do some of the other pipes under the hood just for the hell of it, even though I don't really think it's going to make a difference at this point. I might go ahead and do throttle pipes and replace that pancake pipe that's over on this side, because that one does seem kind of ridiculous. The turbo outlet pipe is like really thin, plasticky pancake pipe, so it might be worth doing that one. That'll about do it. Full mod list, most of my experiences. Let's go ahead and do a cold start just for the hell of it, because I feel like if I make a video, I might as well put a cold start in.